Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm your host.
And I'm the resident expert.
So have you ever made a tiny, seemingly harmless mistake?
Like setting the wrong plate at a dinner table or something.
Exactly. But imagine that mistake ended up costing someone their life. Today we are exploring a story where a single misplaced plate triggers just a catastrophic chain of jealousy.
Oh, it's such a heavy one. It's really about a rigid code of honor and ultimately a massive sacrifice.
Right. But before we unpack this tragedy, if you're finding these deep dives valuable, please humbly consider subscribing to the Simplified Summary YouTube channel.
Yeah, hitting that like button and dropping a comment below really helps the channel grow.
It genuinely does. We love bringing you these breakdowns. So today's mission, we are looking at Munshi Premchand's legendary story, Raja Hardaul.
From his famous Mansarovar collection, right?
You got it. We want to extract the core narrative here, really unpacking the intense cultural weight of Bundela honor.
And brotherhood, and honestly, how quickly ego can just completely destroy a family.
It's basically a shortcut to being well-informed on a massive piece of classic Indian literature. So let's just jump right in.
Let's do it. So to really understand the story, we have to look at the power dynamics right at the start.
Right, we're in Orchha, in the Bundelkhand region.
Yes. And the king is Juhar Singh. He is this very brave, battle-hardened ruler.
He's actually so militarily capable that Emperor Shah Jahan sends him down to govern the Deccan after he crushes a rebellion.
Which is a huge geopolitical promotion, you know. But it means leaving his kingdom in the hands of his younger brother, Hardaul.
And there's this really telling moment right before he leaves with his wife, Queen Kulina.
Oh, the crying scene, yeah.
Right. She's weeping at the door because her husband is going off to war. And Juhar just coldly tells her that Bundela women do not cry at times like this.
He essentially commands her to toughen up, suppress her grief, and guide young Hardaul. It really sets the baseline for this culture.
Emotion is viewed as a total weakness.
Exactly. So Juhar leaves and Hardaul takes over. And over the next year, Hardaul becomes incredibly popular.
Like, mind-blowingly popular. He keeps his court doors open day and night.
Yeah, he's sweet-spoken, he's totally accessible, and the common people absolutely fall in love with him.
It kind of reminds me of, like a substitute teacher or an interim CEO.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right, like the notoriously strict founder goes away, the interim boss comes in, breaks all the rigid rules, and becomes everybody's best friend.
And they're doing a fantastic job, but you know it's going to backfire.
Exactly. Doesn't this setup basically guarantee that the older brother is going to feel deeply threatened when he gets back?
Oh, 100%. Because Hardaul hasn't just managed the logistics of the kingdom, he has conquered the minds of the people.
Which the text says is way harder than conquering land.
Right. Juhar is down south conquering physical territory, but Hardaul is the heartbeat of Orchha. It's a very dangerous psychological contrast.
So then we get to the first massive test of Hardaul's rule. The Festival of Holi is happening.
Everyone is celebrating, but then this guy Kadir Khan shows up.
This invincible wrestler and swordsman from Delhi, and he basically challenges the absolute pride of Orchha.
Yeah, he dares anyone who values their life to face him in the arena. And this is where that Bundela honor really dictates the action.
Because for them, physical bravery is literally their wealth, right?
Exactly. Hardaul even says they don't have vast money or resources. Their martial bravery is what makes them kings.
So their top fighter, Kaldev, steps up, and they duel for like 3 grueling hours.
It's described as 2 burning embers clashing. But then, the unimaginable happens. Kaldev's sword just breaks.
And Kadir Khan shouts Allahu Akbar and strikes him down.
It's brutal, and it just gets worse the very next day.
Right. Kaldev's brother, Baldev, steps up to avenge the defeat, and his sword breaks in half too.
Hardaul is watching and tries to throw him his own sword, but Kadir Khan lightly cuts Baldev's neck, ending the match.
He doesn't even kill him, he spares him, which is almost a deeper humiliation. Orchha is completely defeated.
The whole kingdom falls into this deep, profound depression.
Yeah, households actually refuse to light their stoves. They won't even cook food because they're mourning so hard.
Which, it really shows how tied their self-worth is to this sporting event.
Right, and that's kind of baffling for us today. Why does losing a single duel dictate the literal self-worth of an entire kingdom?
Because a public defeat like that shatters their collective identity. Without their martial reputation, they feel they forfeited the right to basic comforts.
They're basically experiencing a collective ego death. So Hardaul is backed into a corner. He has to do something desperate.
He realizes the only weapon that can match Kadir Khan is King Juhar's personal sword.
But there's a monumental catch. Juhar left a strict order before he left.
Yeah, he explicitly said no one's shadow should even fall upon that sword.
It's completely forbidden.
Mm-hmm.
But Hardaul goes to Queen Kulina and begs her for it anyway.
Which puts her in an agonizing dilemma. She has a direct, absolute order from her husband.
But she also sees the kingdom suffering. So she does some intense moral calculus.
Right. She decides that Juhar loves Orchha's honor more than his own literal command.
So breaking the rule to save the kingdom is actually obeying his true spirit. She makes the executive decision to give him the sword.
And Hardaul uses it to fight Kadir Khan. And with one lightning-fast strike, he defeats him.
The crowd goes absolutely wild. They're like ready to riot with joyous vindication.
But Hardaul just gives them a stern look and instantly calms the massive crowd down.
He becomes the ultimate, undisputed hero of the Bundelas. But this is like a junior employee bypassing the CEO's strict security protocols to save the company.
Yeah, it's the right move for survival, but you know the boss is going to be furious about the protocol breach.
Especially since Queen Kulina showed she trusts Hardaul's judgment in a crisis over her own husband's absolute law.
It inadvertently sets the perfect stage for Juhar's insecurity to just explode.
Which brings us to a year later. Juhar finally returns from the Deccan.
And it goes wrong immediately, out in the forest, before he even reaches the palace.
Right, Juhar is resting alone under a tree, and Hardaul is out hunting with this massive, arrogant entourage.
Because Juhar is alone and resting, Hardaul's men don't recognize their king. They ride right past him without paying respects.
When Hardaul finally spots him, he jumps off his horse and touches his brother's feet.
But the damage is done. Juhar's ego is bruised. He's offended that Hardaul didn't run to him barefoot from afar.
So he's already quietly seething. And then we get to the dinner scene.
The infamous dinner scene.
Queen Kulina, out of pure innocent habit, serves the food. She serves Hardaul on a gold plate.
Because he's been the acting king, you know.
Right. But she serves her husband, Juhar, on a silver plate.
And Juhar just loses it. His face turns bright red, the food tastes like poison to him, and he abruptly leaves the table.
Okay, let's unpack this. All this bloodshed, all this geopolitical maneuvering, and the inciting incident for the family's destruction is a mix-up over dinnerware.
It seems tragically petty, but you have to dive into the semiotics of it.
The symbols of the plates.
Exactly. In a royal context, the gold plate represents the pinnacle of power. Juhar's paranoid mind connects the disrespect in the forest to this plate.
He performs this catastrophic leap and thinks Hardaul has literally stolen his throne.
Not just the throne, but his wife's romantic affections, too. To Juhar, serving Hardaul on gold is a public declaration of an affair.
Which is completely wild and unfounded. It's born entirely out of assumption.
But his fragile ego can't handle it, so he resorts to a horrific extreme to test Kulina's loyalty.
He corners her in private, outright accuses her of loving Hardaul, and gives her a terrifying ultimatum.
He demands she prove her purity, her satihood, by doing the unthinkable.
She has to feed Hardaul a poisoned beetle leaf, a pinyan, with her own hands.
It's so twisted because a pinyan is traditionally a symbol of welcoming and hospitality. He's weaponizing a cultural staple of love.
And Kulina is utterly horrified. She flat out refuses, thinking she'd much rather kill herself than murder an innocent man who saved their kingdom.
But during this intense confrontation, a weeping maid overhears the whole sinister plot.
And she secretly runs and warns Hardaul.
So now Hardaul possesses all the information. He knows his brother suspects him of treason and is threatening the queen's life.
Put yourself in Hardaul's shoes for a second. You have the army, right?
Yeah, they completely love him.
You have the people's devotion. You possess Juhar's invincible sword. You could easily overthrow this paranoid brother. Why choose death?
Because in Bundela culture, fighting his brother would actually confirm Juhar's paranoid suspicions.
It would prove he was a power-hungry usurper all along.
Exactly. So Hardaul chooses the ultimate moral victory instead.
The very next morning, he dresses up cheerfully, like he's going for a hunt.
He walks right up to Juhar and directly, warmly asks for the pan of victory from the silver tray.
Juhar actually hands it to him, just burning with malice.
And Hardaul bows, looks around with deep compassion, and willingly eats the poison pan.
He sacrifices his own life.
It's devastating. But by taking the poison willingly, he achieves total moral supremacy. He permanently clears the queen's name.
He saves her life and proves his absolute loyalty. He immortalizes himself.
The text explicitly notes that statecraft is usually about murder and deceit. But Hardaul rejects all of that.
He elevates himself above the dirty politics, choosing self-sacrifice to protect an innocent woman.
He wins the eternal love of his people by refusing to spill his brother's blood.
Wow. It's such a heavy, profound story. Even though we aren't fighting with swords or dealing with poisoned beetle leaves at the family dinner table today.
The core warning is incredibly relevant.
Yeah, it shows exactly how dangerous it is when we let miscommunication fester and how unchecked ego can lead to permanent damage.
Just assuming the absolute worst about those closest to us, Juhar destroyed the fabric of his own family over an assumption.
A tragic reminder to always check our own egos at the door. Well, before we wrap up, we want to remind you one more time to please subscribe to the Simplified Summary channel.
Like this video and definitely drop a comment down below about what you thought of Hardaul's choice. Would you have used the army to fight back or taken the pan?
We really want to hear your thoughts. So to leave you with a lingering question to ponder as we head out today.
Something to mull over.
Hardaul saved the queen's honor and proved his absolute loyalty. But did his sacrifice actually solve the root problem?
Right, or did it just leave Orchha trapped with a paranoid, insecure king?
And a kingdom forever mourning its greatest hero. Sometimes absolute loyalty demands a price that is simply too high to pay.
Think about that the next time you feel the desperate need to prove yourself to someone who already doubts you.
Have you ever made a tiny mistake that changed everything? Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.